deserve the props for this.
Yeah,
I'm not
it's
shocked.
ironic, isn't it, Megyn, that she thought that Abby would be easy on her?
I don't know what she thought. I don't actually care what she.
Well, she didn't ask me
with that, but
well, she didn't ask me to interview her. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Or me.
Yeah.
I'm not a journalist, so there's no way in hell I'm getting that.
But again, these aren't necessarily tough questions. These are ones that she should be able to answer.
Yes,
right?
because she is a senior advisor with a office in the White House. I have many issues with this, but what you're saying, there's a difference between us and Malaysia. We shouldn't muddy the waters and have family members working in the White House in the capacity that they are, just because there are innate problems. If, hey, my son-in-law, I'm going to want to have preferential treatment to my daughter and my son-in-law, and advisors are supposed to, and I think any of you know this, even in people that advise your career. I like people who tell me, Megyn, no, you're doing the wrong thing. You're saying the wrong thing. I do not surround myself with yes people, and my father never did. And the problem is he's completely surrounded by sycophants who their own self-interest trump the country's self-interest. No pun intended with that. And I think part of the problem is, you're right. It's much more like sort of like a dictatorship within families than I don't know enough about the mob. But rather than the good of the country and national security, and people who don't deserve national security clearances should certainly not have that.
And that's why we have federal anti-nepotism laws in place, right? And so he shouldn't have been allowed to do it, but the Department of Justice in 2017 said, actually, this is okay because the White House isn't an executive agency. And in my view, it is the largest executive agency in the world. And so I think the Department of Justice really got it wrong. But remember, this started with the Kennedys, right? President Kennedy had Bobby Kennedy as his Attorney General. And so there is precedent for it. But gosh, Department of Justice,
it is fascinating. It's the first crack in her veneer, though. I mean, being caught lying on air is a different thing. It's a next level. All of you seeing what she said in the interview and being caught lying. For her, in the image that she is so protective and vociferously, intensely shielded from. I mean, one of the reasons I don't like her is because I don't know what she's saying. To me, there never seems like there's a real person in there. And I think, I'm serious. I'm not saying that as shade. And so for me, as an advisor or a daughter, it's interesting to me that the first time we see her caught lying on air is being done by
She's just like him. Go ahead.
Well, we have a legal
Read the legal note.
A spokesperson for Kushner's attorney stated that in 2018, White House and security clearance officials affirmed that Kushner's security clearance was handled in the regular process with no pressure from anyone. That was conveyed to the media at the time, and news stories, if accurate, do not change what was affirmed at the time. In addition, both Trump and his daughter Ivanka have publicly denied the president was involved in securing a clearance for Kushner.
Well, who are you going to believe, the New York Times or the daughter of a criminal enterprise? We'll be right back with more Hot
Topics. Next week, fire up another sizzling political view.
It is raining candidates here on The View.
Yes, and Washington governor and presidential candidate Jay Inslee faces the women. Then we're rolling out the red carpet for Katie, Luke, Lionel, and yes, Ryan too, when American Idol comes to The View. And things get totally marvelous when Captain Marvel Oscar winner Brie Larson and Annette Bening hit The View. It's all next week on ABC. Presidential candidate Senator Bernie Sanders is making a campaign stop live on The View. And Feel Good Friday on View Your Deal.
Thousands of hopefuls have been working on their auditions for the return of American Idol this Sunday, and we have an exclusive clip that shows some contestants need more practice sucking up to the judges. Take a look.
Who are your musical influences?
Kendrick Lamar, Kanye West, Lionel Richie.
Boom! Okay,
That's all you need to know.
Hold on, sit down.
That's all you need to know.
Hold on, stop. Nick, sit down. Name one Lionel Richie song.
I don't know a Lionel Richie song.
From the top of the mountain to the lowest of the valleys.
So judges Katy Perry, Lionel Richie, and Luke Bryan, as well as host Ryan Seacrest, will be here on Tuesday next week, and American Idol premieres this Sunday at 7 Central right here on ABC. So watch it.
Ooh, now, wait. He could have named so many songs. Hello, We Are the World.
I know.
Come on.
He's a kid. He's a kid. He doesn't know.
He had nerves. Is it me you're looking looking for?
I know. I see that you know it, but the kid did not. So, Tabitha King, Stephen King's wife, is ticked off that articles completely left her name out of the headlines and just referred to her as Stephen King's wife. Ouch. But you're all more famous than your husbands at this table, aren't you?
Well, it's a low bar.
So is that an issue for
It's a low bar for our family.
It actually depends which room I walk in with him, honestly.
Say what?
It depends which room I
you're
walk in with
different.
Ben. He's known in conservative circles.
Yes,
as
that's
well,
right.
so.
Yeah.
Right.
But you know what? Big rock star in the
Yeah, in the doctor world.
world.
Well, Steve is a big star in the Bronx. They know him. He was a teacher up there for 30 years, so that's about the size of it. My husband is being called by my ex-husband's name, because Behar is my first husband's name.
Oh, no.
That's not my name. I'm Italian. That's not Italian. But I kept it because I was married for so many years.
Yeah.
So then now they say Mr. Behar to him.
He takes it well,
And
though.
the guy is so secure that it goes into one ear and out the other.
I have the
and then
same-
he cries. No.
I have the same thing. Like,
Yeah.
you have to have confidence in yourself if you're going to be married to. I wasn't doing TV when we got married. We got married really young, but we have so many moments where people, like, we moved apartments this week because I don't have enough going on this year in my life. We decided to move apartments, and the movers are so nice at the end. Can we get a picture with you? And I'm sure. They hand the phone to my husband, like, you don't need to be in this. And they said, oh, and his name's Jeff. They're like, John, you take the picture.
Oh.
Poor guy. I mean, he never gets the name
Well, they
right.
do that
But
on the
he's
red
fine
carpet
with
all the
it.
time, don't they? When you go to a premiere, they go, like that to him.
Yeah. And he could care
It's not
less.
nice.
He's a very secure
They're secure.
guy.
I
Well,
actually
you know,
need that.
this woman, Tabitha King, has written 8 novels.
Yeah.
They've been married for 50 years. So she doesn't like to be referred to as the wife. I don't blame her.
Yeah.
Well, to quote one of my icons, June Carter Cash, who was married to
Oh,
Johnny
yeah.
Cash, she said, I've been real happy paddling along after John being Mrs. Johnny Cash all these years. And Ben is in media as well, and he's much more serious than I am.
Yeah.
And when he's on TV, I always Instagram story it, and I'm like, I'm fangirling out, and if his career at some point eclipses mine, I'd be very happy just being Mrs. Dominich for the rest of my life.
Really?
Like, I think we got to support each other's careers.
Yeah, I believe that.
And careers are long in different phases. June was much more famous than John when they first met, and then Johnny obviously got much more famous as they got older, and they toured together. So I'm for Johnny and June style of a relationship.
Yeah.
Support. That's Patsy Cline.
That's true love.
Johnny Cash.
I love that.
That's also
Carter.
true love. You want the best for
Walk
your
the
spouse.
line.
Yeah.
You want to be able to.
All together.
That was a great movie.
Yes.
I love them.
Reese Witherspoon.
Yeah.
I love that
I love
movie.
their relationship.
And talented. Okay, we'll be right back with Bernie Sanders.
Does presidential candidate Senator Bernie Sanders worry that being branded a socialist could cost him the election? How does he answer critics who say he's too old to run? He's live on The View next.
Senator Bernie Sanders. They're clapping already. Anyway, Bernie Sanders has thrown his hat back into the presidential race, and he hasn't lost his touch to fire up a crowd. We just heard it. He's breaking campaign fundraising records, sitting on top of the polls. Please welcome Senator Bernie Sanders. Wow, you are still popular. You're a bit of a rock star, Bernie.
Well, you don't want to hear me sing. That's
No, I don't.
Was that an option?
No.
So you decided to run again in 2020 for president. Although, not for nothing, you came in close last time, but you didn't win the nomination. Let us go over history a little. So tell me one thing you're going to do differently this time to win the nomination.
We began this campaign after 1 week with 1 million volunteers.
Right.
1 million in every state in this country. And we are going to run an unprecedented grassroots campaign, which is going to bring our people together, doing exactly the opposite of what Trump is trying to do. He's trying to divide us up. We're going to bring our people together to take on all of the powerful special interests that today have so much economic and political power over this country. We didn't do that last time.
But you did have a grassroots.
We did, but
thing
this
last
time it'll be stronger. We'll be involving more people. It'll be more diverse. And most importantly, this time we're going to win.
Okay. So, now, a tough question. Many Democrats still say you're a big reason why Hillary lost because of your criticism of her before the general election and your refusal to concede. Even when it looked like you wouldn't get the nomination, you wouldn't pull out. How do you answer claims that you splintered the party and put Trump in the White House and, God forbid, you could do it again in 2020?
Well, those criticisms come from our political opponents. All right. And the answer is that I knocked my brains out working to get Hillary Clinton elected president. I went all over this country. We got a letter someplace from Hillary Clinton thanking me for what we did. Furthermore, because we ended up in the primary process winning more votes from young people than Clinton and Trump combined, we brought a lot of young people into the political process,
right.
And you're seeing the results of that in the 2018 election, where so many young people got elected.
So why were you so reluctant to quit when she got the nomination?
Well, what I did was sit down with her and work on a progressive agenda, which has become the agenda not only of the Democratic Party, but of the United States of America. Let me tell you about our 2016 campaign. During the campaign when I was here, we talked about raising the minimum wage to a living wage, $15 an hour. People thought it was a radical and crazy idea. Today, 5 states have already done it. We talked about making public... Right. We talked about making public colleges and universities tuition free and substantially reducing student debt. Well, they're doing that all over the country. We talked about, and you will remember, all of you I think will remember, I was considered crazy by saying, you know what, maybe the United States should do what every other major country on earth does, guarantee health care to all people as a right. Okay? So that was what this 2016 campaign was about. We took on the Democratic establishment. Guess what? Democratic establishment is still fighting us. Republican establishment is fighting us. Big money interests are fighting us. That's what happens when you wage a political revolution.
But the American people want those 3 things. They want
absolutely,
that.
And more, and more.
And that was actually my question for you. But those ideas made you stand out then, for good or for bad. But now they don't seem so radical. Now what makes you stand out among the crowd?
Yeah.
Well, it's a good question. I think the answer is, you're welcome. That's a brilliant question.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think, look, in the Democratic primary, I'm running against some really good people. Many of them my personal friends, okay? So I'm not here to denigrate any of them. But I hope that voters might want to look at, A, who was there first. You know, it's one thing to say, hey, I support Medicare for all. It's another thing to say it when you got the whole establishment saying that's a crazy idea. In 1999, we took on the pharmaceutical industry. Everybody here knows, correct? Pharmaceutical industry is ripping off the American people, forcing us to pay the highest prices in the world. Well, in 1999, a few years ago, I was the first member of Congress to take Americans over the Canadian border, people in my own state of Vermont, to get prescription drugs in Montreal that were 1/10 the price they were paying in Vermont. Okay? Today, millions of people...
But I have another rude question. Sorry. Here's the rude question. You started it all. You were brilliant. I agree. I loved you in the last go-round.
You don't love me anymore?
I do. I still love you. Apologies
Her
to you.
dog is named Bernie.
I named my dog after you. That's really love. But what I'm saying is, yes, you came up with all these brilliant ideas. What do you say to people who say, okay, Bernie, and I'm your same age as you.
You look much younger.
I do. But what do you say to people? You're too old. Let the younger person now take the mantle.
Look, I think we should judge people on the totality of their lives. They can say that about you.
Yeah.
All right?
I don't think you're too old, because then I'd have to say I'm too old.
That's right. But you have a good viewing audience, right?
Yes.
People perceive you doing the show very, very well.
Yeah.
Judge people by the work that they do. I mean...
What do you think Hillary did wrong to lose to someone like Trump?
You know, I'm not enthusiastically going back to 2016. But I think in some ways she didn't reach out to working class people in the way I think she should have. There were states where she did not campaign as vigorously as she should have, in Wisconsin, Michigan, maybe some other states. But that was 2016. In my view, Donald Trump is the most dangerous president in modern American history. I think he is...
Could I just interject really quickly, though?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Could I just interject really quickly, though? We're hearing about a lot of Democratic candidates who are meeting with Hillary Clinton for advice, though. So people like Amy Klobuchar. Do you think you'll do the same?
I suspect not. Hillary has not, she has not called me. Look, we have differences. Hillary has played a very important role in modern American politics.
Yeah. But you're not interested in any advice from her?
I think not. We have,
You think not?
Look, I think every Democrat is going to come together. And let me say what I've said before. I hope to be the Democratic nominee and have the support of the whole Democratic Party behind me. If I am not, and somebody else is, I will support that candidate. Because what's most important is that Trump be defeated. But, Hillary and I have fundamental differences, and that's...
It does seem like the president wants to run against you, though. He calls you Crazy Bernie. He thinks it could be an easy win for him, that you would not capture the middle of the country enough.
I'm not so sure, Abby. I'm not so sure. I think that he knows that in states like Michigan, in Wisconsin, states that he won, I don't think he thinks that he will defeat me. So I'm not so sure that that's correct. I think the agenda...
Is he scared of you?
He should be. He should be.
I think the agenda that we are talking about is basically saying that in a nation which has such massive income and wealth inequality, you got 3 people who own more wealth than the bottom half of America.
Yeah.
All right? We can do so much more as a nation. It's not only health care for all, it's not only making public colleges and universities tuition free. We have a dysfunctional child care system.
Yes.
You're a working parent in New York or in Vermont. How are you going to pay $20,000 or $30,000 a year for child care? You can't. So we have got to make sure that we have quality, affordable child care. There are senior citizens in this country. We don't talk about this enough.
Bernie, we have to pay for you, so we'll be right back.
And we are back with Senator Bernie Sanders. The crowd kind of likes you here. The crowd kind of likes you here. I want to get your take, because there was a lot of criticism about your 2016 campaign and sexual assault harassment allegations against top male campaign staffers. You've addressed it. You said it won't happen again, and that obviously you're busy. Meg and I have been in campaigns. We understand, the candidate is not where everybody is all the time. Have you gotten rid of all of the top male staffers that have been accused, and what are you doing more specifically?
I believe we have, to answer your question. And second of all, when I ran for re-election in Vermont just in 2018, we established, I think, the strongest protocol against sexual harassment, and that is being incorporated into this presidential campaign. I don't think I was embarrassed by that. We're going to do everything we can to make sure that it doesn't happen, and we have very strong safeguards in place.
Senator Amy Klobuchar is getting a lot of heat for being a tough boss and difficult to work with, but there have actually been a lot of stories about you being a tough boss. In 2015, the Vermont paper 7 Days wrote an article quoting staffers saying you were unbelievably abusive, you yelled during meetings, you were a... Why do you think that those kind of stories weren't getting as much attention as Senator Klobuchar's is?
Because I don't think in that particular story in one Vermont newspaper had one name attached to it of anybody who said, look,
The Des Moines Register asked you questions about it as well, though, because you said, yes, I do demand.
Okay. But there wasn't one person who put their name on it. I have been in public life for, 30 years. And I've had hundreds of employees, and I think the vast majority of employees will tell you that they enjoyed working with me. They were proud of what we've accomplished together. This, unfortunately, and I know Amy very well, and I think these are, this is what media does. We should be talking about the major issues facing our country. We should be talking about climate change and the future of the planet.
Right.
You do understand it's my job, though, to ask the difference between your perspective between the reporting on Amy as a boss and you as a boss.
Well, this was one article written in one Vermont paper, did not have, as I recall, one person's name being mentioned. So after 20 years or 30 years in politics, there are some people who may be disgruntled, may have been angry at me. That's my answer. But I think in general, if you talk to the people who work with me, many of them have been around me for years and decades, they'd find me as a pretty good employer.
Well, we're in sync today because I do want to talk about climate change.
Good.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez worked with you, and she claimed that the looming threat of climate change that continues to exacerbate global conflicts has gotten so dire that it is a legitimate question to ask whether it's moral for people to have children now. Does she have a point there, or is that too radical?
Well, obviously that's an enormously personal choice that every couple is going to have to make. But this is what I will say. I will say that I am embarrassed that we have a president who refuses to even acknowledge the reality of climate change. And in my own personal opinion, having talked to scientists all over the world, if we do not get our act together and take on the fossil fuel industry and transform our energy system away from fossil fuel into energy efficiency and sustainable energy, the planet that we are going to be leaving our kids and our grandchildren, and Jane and I have 7 grandchildren, will become increasingly unhealthy and uninhabitable. Now, given that reality, it seems to me the job we have to do is to immediately grasp the magnitude of the problem and transform our energy system to save the planet. Now, in terms of what couples' decisions they make, that is their decision. Couples make a lot of decisions in terms of whether they're going to have kids. Often it's economic, and there are other factors as well.
Does the Green New Deal go too far?
No. You cannot go too far on the issue of climate change. The future of the planet is at stake. Okay? We have, according to the best scientists in the world, we have 12 years to begin substantially cutting carbon emissions before there will be irreparable damage to the planet. I talked to some folks who were in Paradise, California. Remember the terrible fire that wiped out that whole community?
I got to go, Bernie. I got to go again. We have another commercial. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I hope that you'll join me I'm going to start a movement to get all the weathermen to report. It's this degrees outside, it's snow, and also the polar caps have moved even further, whatever. If the weathermen would do that, I think people would be paying attention more, don't you? Let's start a movement on that.
Let's do that.
Okay, we'll be right back with more of Senator Bernie Sanders.
Days after the verdict was handed down in the Sarah Stern murder case, 2020's taking you back to the beginning.
Sarah was definitely the happy-go-lucky girl.
Liam was a childhood friend of Sarah's.
The mystery surrounding her disappearance.
Sarah's car was found early on a Saturday morning.
They believe that Sarah had jumped, and I just heard screaming.
A father's search for answers.
And right away, you were suspicious.
You just get that feeling that something happened.
And the shocking confession caught on video.
I choke her out, drag her into the back, put her in a bathroom.
It's a 2-hour 2020 event with new details and new interviews about the murder that shook small-town America to its core. With Friends Like These. Airs tonight at 9/8 Central on ABC.
With African Americans were quite low, and you also don't support reparations for slave descendants. Why do you think your poll numbers are low, and why don't you support reparations?
Well, first of all, our poll numbers are not low. I think if you look at polls in the last 6 months, they're quite high among the African American community.
Okay.
And even in 2016, we ended up winning by good margins, votes from younger African Americans and Latinos and whites. We did very well among younger African Americans. Look, I happen to believe that at a time of tremendous disparity, the wealth gap, for example, between the white community and the black community is like 10-to-1. Health disparities are terrible. Environmental disparities are terrible. Flint, Michigan comes to mind.
Yeah.
So I think what we have got to do is pay attention to distressed communities, black communities, Latino communities, and white communities all over this country. And as president, I pledge to do that.
Why not support reparations then?
Well, what do you mean by reparations?
By reparations for slave defendants.
I know, but what does that mean exactly?
Money.
Well, I think that right now our job is to address the crises facing the American people and our communities. And I think there are better ways to do that than just writing out a check.
Can I get your take on Michael Cohen? We all watched those public hearings to Congress the other day. What was your reaction? It was a long day.
Well, my reaction was that he confirmed what many of us knew. He said that Trump was a liar. Duh. Trump was a fraud. Trump was a racist.
Con man.
Con man. Yeah. You know, I think we all.
Those are his good points.
We all knew. So, you know, what he said didn't totally shock me.
Was there anything that you could think will come from it legally that could really be a problem?
There may be. You know, he made it clear that he wrote out a check during the campaign to Stormy Daniels. And I think that is in all likelihood a violation of campaign finance law.
Can I just ask one more question? You worked with my father on many bipartisan bills, including trying to fix the VA. There's a lot of sentiments right now that Democrats shouldn't be working with Republicans or even saying nice things about Republicans. Can you tell me that you would be someone that's still open to working with the other
and
side?
You've got 30 seconds.
Well, actually, not only can I say it, we are doing it right now. We are going to have a bill coming up in a week or two to stop U.S. involvement in the war in Yemen. And the lead co-sponsor is Mike Lee, a conservative Republican from Utah.
There you go. My home state. Senator Bernie Sanders. And we'll be right back.
It on View Your Deals Feel Good Friday. We're celebrating Women's History Month by partnering with vendors for at least half off incredible products from businesses created by women. Next.
History Month. So we're celebrating women who own small businesses and offering their fantastic products for at least half off while supplies last. Here to show them off, welcome back lifestyle expert Greta Monahan.
I'm kicking it off with Michelle Design Works. Absolutely love this collection.
So pretty.
Kitchen accessories inspired by nature. Isn't it beautiful?
Yes.
So I brought you 4 collections today, Sunny. Tranquility Paris, Nest and Eggs, and Lilac and Violets. I love them all. I have the Lilac and Violets in my kitchen right now. It's gorgeous. And the products include kitchen towels, aprons, pot holders, dish soaps, hand soaps, scented drawer liners, which are here. They not only smell good, they are beautiful. They upgrade the kitchen game so much, and they make great gifts. So I kind of buy them and stock them because wait till you hear this.
Eggs.
Yes, my girl. Those are for you. Original price on this collection, $7 to $22. Today's deal, $3.50 to $11.
Nice.
Musée, bath salts, soaps, and candles. You know I would not bring you this. This is amazing.
Yes.
So Musée inspires joy through everyday beauty products. The company tackles poverty by providing jobs for at-risk individuals, but they find purpose in making these luxurious products by hand. Look at the packaging. Look at the care that goes into them. And the candle I left for you right there, smell it, but also take a look at the box. They have these beautiful inspired messages on the inside.
Let light shine out of darkness.
Original price on this collection, $8 to $24. Today's deal, $4 to $12. Savings of half off. Looks like $1 million. Catherine Weitzman, botanical necklaces. Look, I brought you this for October.
That's
you
my
can have
birthday.
A botanical birth month necklace, and I have mine on that I just love. Created with real pressed flowers and designed by hand in Hawaii. Delicate petals are dried and then arranged and set behind glass chambers. So I love this because you can either do the color you want or you can do a birth month, which is a really unique gift. Aren't they pretty? Layer them with your own jewelry. They're beautiful. Original price on these, $145 to $170. Not even close. The deal today is $38 each plus free shipping. Look at how beautiful. Okay, so Vim and Vigor's compression wear is designed to support your legs all day. Yes. We know it relieves stress on the legs, achiness, gives you that light, energized feeling you want, helps you with circulation. But here's the thing, they just look so cool and cute.
Yeah.
That's what I love about them. Prevents swelling. So I have 3 styles for you today. Socks, sleeves, and tights. And they're in men's and women's styles. Really fun. If you haven't tried them. It'll change your day. You don't feel tired. Original price on these, $28 to $50. Today's deal, $14 to $25.
Nice.
Healthy. Half off. You're going to love this. You know I love to bring you stylist secrets.
Yes.
And you and I always jam because you have a few of your own.
Yes.
Soul Serum. This is incredible because you actually put 2 or 3 drops of this on the soles of your feet. It's essential oil mixed with lidocaine. So it literally cools and minimizes, instantly relieves the ache and pain and prevents it from getting worse.
So I can wear heels all night.
Yes, you can. You don't even have to slip them off, and you're going to keep a smile on your face, and you're going to stay glowing.
Wow.
Not hunched over in pain. Original price on this, $22. Get the stylist secret. Today's deal, $11.
So smart.
Have up. Keep that.
So smart.
I know you love the smart ones. Hey, Carol. So I love this Lori crossover bag because you can wear it 2 ways. This medium size is wonderful because it looks good on every height and every shape person. It's just a great flattering style, but also you can wear it as a crossbody or shoulder bag. And look at this. No annoying buckles, but you get the look, which I love because this just closes right up with a little magnetic closure and you're done. What I love about this is built-in RFID to protect our identity. Original price on these bags, $50. Easy breezy. The deal today is $22 for this bag.
Nice.